Okay, so because we have rumors floating around that GPU prices are going to rise together with RAM and SSD prices, I want to see if the RX 9070 XT is worth your hard-earned cash. Because with the price hikes, it better be worth it or I'm going to be really mad spending so much for a mid product. Like, as of right now, at least in Lithuania, I can still buy them for around 650, 670 euros, and these are the same prices that we had in the summer. So I really hope that they don't go up, but if they go up, in this video we have to figure out what's the reasonable price to pay for this GPU and where you would just have to say, nah bro, I'll pass. Well, at least on Stalker 2, I was pleasantly surprised that we didn't even need to use any upscaling like on the RTX 5070, because on 1440p epic settings and native rendering, we got well over 60 FPS on average, with a couple of slowdowns in the busy city area, which I'll be brutal and blame on this poor Ryzen 5 9600X handling this beast. And on 1080p, the average was looking even more crispy at around 90. Wow, like this is really good performance. Though I have to mention that no matter the resolution, the game was using 24 gigabytes of RAM and around 10 gigs of VRAM, so it sure must have been hungry. Next up, we opened Roblox. And because after Stalker we see that this GPU is kinda OP, I went straight for Ultra Nightmare settings without any FSR or any of that stuff, and we got really good results on both resolutions. But in terms of VRAM usage, this time it was even more, totaling up to over 10.5 gigabytes. So what, next game will use 11? Well, I was wrong. On Battlefield 6, the game ran great, but if we look again at the upper left corner, we see that for some reason, at times, this game was using up to 16 gigs of VRAM. Like, some GPUs don't have that much gigabytes, and this game was hogging all of that VRAM. But anyways, on overkill settings, we got these benchmark results. For our fourth game on the roster, we got Borderlands 4, and when I turned on the game with 1440p and badass settings preset with no FSR, I think I made a bit of a mistake, cause this game was running a bit rough. Though that is not surprising, this game is optimized absolutely terribly. Even on 1080p, the average was barely 60, so FSR came into clutch and saved the day. CS2 was a breath of fresh air, using only 9 gigs of VRAM instead of 5 billion, and as you can see here, we got these great benchmark results. Of course, they are not far from the regular 9070 we tested in the last video, but I'll blame the poor 9600X for the second time today. And just wanted to note that CS2 doesn't really need more than roughly 7 or 8 gigabytes, but it is allocating more memory just in case, and probably just because it can. And speaking about the processor, if you want to utilize this graphics card to the max, make sure to have at least something like a 7800 X3D or an i7 14700KF, because this GPU is really powerful. So even if in most games the 9600X handles it just fine, in others you might be losing some FPS if your CPU is weaker, so keep that in mind. Now onto the boring ass section, we got queued with some Chinese dudes.
不是的，我这边显示我延迟很高的，应该你是房主。
Which I guess is kinda cool, so anyways, please roll the benchmarks. Next up was the time to test Black Myth Wukong, and I hope you'll be surprised as much as I am, because on 1440p very high settings, I managed to pull around 60 FPS without any upscaling. We all know that to get 60 FPS on 1080p isn't that impressive, but on 1440p and this game and these graphic settings specifically, that's something to praise this GPU about. And talking about the 75% FSR on 1440p, the frame rate was even greater. I didn't want to do that, but I think I'll blame the 9600X once again for not being strong enough to handle the 9070 XT, because on Fortnite, our 1080p and 1440p results on medium with TSR on medium were basically the same. Though at least this wasn't true on Marvel Rivals, because there we definitely saw a difference between the resolutions on native ultra settings. And arc raiders were also running great. On absolutely everything maxed out and zero upscaling, we got over 100 FPS on 1440p and over 150 FPS on 1080p. So basically, we see that there are no games that this GPU cannot handle, and in general, it is performing just great. So for the roughly 650 euros price, I think that it even gives some kind of GTX 1080 Ti flashbacks. Because even though it isn't that cheap, it still handles everything you throw at it, even on 1440p maxed out settings. With the exception of Borderlands 4, but no one cares about Borderlands 4 to be fair. So if the prices stay roughly where they are, I think that this is a great GPU to buy, though if it goes over 750, much harder sell them. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Cheap bastard out.